Kids are dicks. Nephew said to sister-in-law, do you wear makeup? Sister, yeah. Nephew, you don't need to wear makeup. Mum says, oh. Then the nephew says, you need surgery. What a deflation that was. My 6-year-old, Mum, did you spray some perfume on yourself? Me, yeah, I was just testing it out. Do you like it? 6-year-old, yeah, I do. You need to spray some in your mouth.
16 and 13-year-old daughters were making a heap of noise. I yelled out, hey, be quiet. Trying to find my happy place. Their reply, daughter 1, good luck with that. Daughter 2, yeah, you should start walking. Adam Featherston, I was eating an apple and my daughter said to me, God, you're eating that loud. You sound like a horse. And your head kind of looks like one too. My son calls me an old man every day. I'm 30. He's a dick.
And walking past the graveyard once, my then 3-year-old daughter asked what it was. After explaining, she asked, Dad, when you die, will we get a new dad? Thanks, kid. I work with kids aged 0 to 5. They will humble you daily. I had purple streaks in my hair, and one asked me if it was supposed to look like that. I nodded and said yes. She just shook her head and said, silly lady. A friend had a 6-year-old son with him, and his son was staring at my recently purchased ute/pickup truck, and I asked the young man, do you like my new pickup truck? And with a serious and thoughtful expression, he says, no, I don't like it at all. And I asked why not, and with a straight face, the little piss cutter said, you're much too fat for it. I fell through my own ass laughing. Kids are dicks. This from Chaz. My son was 4 at the time. My wife was pregnant, and we were trying to explain to him why Mummy's belly was getting bigger and why he couldn't jump on her. Then he looked at me and said, Daddy must have a really big baby in his belly as well.
Last one from me. My friend's brother, when he was little, told his nan that her neck looks like his dad's balls when he gets out of the bath.
Woo! Oh, that would have cut deep. Real deep. Kids are dicks. My muckle said, Papa, you should stop bending over. When I asked why, the 7-year-old replied, because I could see all the skin on your head. Melanie says, my dad was dying. I told the kids we were going to see him for the last time. The 9-year-old goes, hi, Granddad. We've come to see you because you're going to die. I just got home from shopping. I was trying to get dinner cooked while putting the groceries away. My 4-year-old was diving through the shopping and found some juice. He started hassling me for a drink, and after about 10 minutes, I gave in. I told him to get himself a cup, and I would let him have some juice. He brought the cup over to me and held it out for me to pour the juice in. When the cup was maybe a third full, he promptly pulled the cup away and started drinking, leaving me pouring the juice onto the floor. Get the dicks!
Just couldn't wait. Could not wait.
And that's enough for me.
Need it now. When my daughter was 7 years old, she asked me if electricity was invented when I was a kid, or if we had to use candles like they do in those old castles you see on TV. Took my 15-year-old dog for a bath at a pet store as she had poo on her. She was scheduled to be PTS 2 days later on Sunday due to her back leg not working properly. I was crying in the middle of the store being consoled by strangers when my 8-year-old daughter asked if we could just adopt a kitten and be done with the dog.
I was swimming at a local pool with my son when we were getting changed in the locker room, and I took my swimsuit off. My son stared at my boobs and loudly asked why my boobs had melted. Complete hysteria from everyone else in the place. I said, well, you sucked the life out of them.
My youngest grandson was watching me fold laundry and asked why I had 2 baskets of clothes. So I explained that one basket is for ironing and the other clothes don't need ironing as they're not creased. He replied, oh, Nana, your face needs ironing. It's full of creases.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Sonia Moyle, Mummy, were there dinosaurs when you were around? What were they like? Did they ever come to your house? Must have been scary. We were watching Shrek a few years back, and my young son pointed at the screen and shouted, Daddy!
Oh, man. Kids give me dicks. One final one for me. That's from Bree Smith. My daughter asked why my butt was too big for my undies. I was wearing a G-string.
Last one from me from Charlotte Haler. My daughter said to me, funny, Mum, how you have teenage hair but a grandma's face.
Oh my God, that is just so savage.
Oh.
Kids are dicks.
This one here from Lou Temby. My son, when he was about 8, really wanted a baby brother or sister. So I said to him, darling, that's just not going to happen while mummy is on her own. He replies back with, oh, well, go out one night, get drunk, find someone, you know.
My gosh.
Kathy McNeese, when I was a kid, I asked my nan what it was like to live in a cave. My dad didn't say a word, just turned on his heels and left the room.
That's from Andrea. My youngest asked me why he wasn't allowed sweets before bed / late in the day as he really wanted some. I gave him a bit of a science answer and said that that amount of sugar and sweets wouldn't be burnt off by his body and would be stored usually as fat, which is unhealthy. He promptly responded, you must eat a lot of sweets then, mummy. That's from Ian. Getting dressed this morning, my 4-year-old stepdaughter walks into the room. I'm naked. She sees everything before I can cover up, whilst apologising to her, etc. Her response is, that's nothing. My dad's touches the floor.
Jane Moran. When I was in my early 40s, I was incredibly fit, running a marathon every 6 months.
Whoa.
I was dressed up to go out for a night out on the tiles and asked my 16-year-old if I looked all right just before I left. Her response was, what are you worrying about? No one looks at you anymore anyway. Alison Wade with another teen. When my son was 14, we took him to Hawaii. After a day at the beach, I sent him to the car to get our change of clothes. A few minutes later, he comes running down the path with my bra in his hand, shouting, look, Mum, I'm parasailing.
Oh my gosh. That's from Nicole Biggs. A couple of weeks ago, my daughter and my grandson were driving past the building being constructed. My grandson asked his mum what the building was. She explained it was an old person's home. Without missing a beat, he goes, oh, is that where Nanny is going to live? I'm 54.
Ryan Beatty, I'm the youngest of 4. When I was about 8 years old, my eldest brother convinced me that hot dogs were made from monkeys' peckers. A few days later, they were serving hot dogs for lunch in school, and I thought it would be a good idea to tell the whole table that they were eating monkeys' dicks. One kid threw up. I ruined everyone's lunch, got in trouble when they told on me for it. I thought I was helping them out just by telling them not to keep eating them. Last one from me. This is from Glenn Fuller. When I was 6, my nana was babysitting me for the night. Before the night came to a bad fork in the road, she loved the darts. I was obviously not, but I was curious about Nana's cigarette lighter. So when she fell asleep on the couch that night, I started to flick, flick, flick at the lighter until a flame came out. So impressed I made a fire. I wanted to see if I could make a bigger fire.
Uh-oh.
I noticed the vase full of fake dry flowers at the head side of the couch when Nana was dozing. So I lit it. Within a second, this thing went up and sprayed embers into the air, which found its way into Nana's hair, which she drowned in hairspray twice a day. Oh. Well, let me tell you, I found out about combustion that day. Within a second, she was consumed in flames from her forehead upwards and lost everything. I mean everything. Burnt the lot off her head. Fortunately, no real damage, but I didn't get a birthday present from her that year.
Jeez, full Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial. Oh my wowee. Kids are dicks. We live in Scotland, and when the Greatest Showman first came into our school, it did a circus-themed day for the kids. The umpire shouted, have any of your mums got a hairy chin? To which my 6-year-old replied, my mum has a big hairy flower. In front of the entire school staff and parents, I left with a bit of a red face that day. Kids can be dicks. My son, as a toddler, used my boobs as boxing bags while I was bending over to dry my legs from the shower.
When my daughter was 7 years old, she asked me if electricity was invented when I was a kid or if I had to use candles. A few years later, I was told by her that I was way too old for a show bag. Not wrinkled old, just too old.
My nephew told my mum that she looked like a red skunk because her grey roots were coming back through her dyed red hair. Kids can be dicks. Check out my 6-year-old son. Mum, why do you only look good when you go out? Gee, thanks, buddy.
My 6-year-old daughter was looking at her dad's brand new girlfriend's brightly self-coloured hair one day, then tapped her arm and said, Mum, can help you if you want. Girlfriend, with what? Miss number 6, my mum's hairstylist. She can fix that absolute mess on your head. When asked for the 3rd time to go and get in the shower, my 9-year-old son replied with very thick sass, might I add, okay, middle-aged lady. My son was watching me get ready to go out. He didn't want me to go out, so he said that I looked like a She-Hulk.
When my daughter was about 3, she counted my chins. Gee, that was fun. My daughter asked if I farted. I replied no, and she goes, oh, it must be your breath then.
Mummy, what were dinosaurs really like? Did they come to your house when you were little? When I hit 40, my son kindly told me I was now statistically closer to death than birth. He's now a doctor, so he was telling the truth.
Oh, jeez, thanks, son. I used to smoke, lying in bed, having morning cuddles with my twins. My daughter grabbed me by the cheeks and said, poo, you stink, Mum. And then my son pulled my head around and smelt my breath and said, oh, that smells like shit. They were 4.5 at the time. Was a fair point. What are those lines on your head? Wrinkles, thanks. Thanks for pointing those out. Kids are dicks. Kids are dicks. Nephew said to sister-in-law, do you wear makeup? Sister, yeah. Nephew, you don't need to wear makeup. Mum says, oh. Then the nephew says, you need surgery. What a deflation that was. My 6-year-old, Mum, did you spray some perfume on yourself? Me, yeah, I was just testing it out. Do you like it? 6-year-old, yeah, I do. You need to spray some in your mouth.
16 and 13-year-old daughters were making a heap of noise. I yelled out, hey, be quiet. Trying to find my happy place. Their reply, daughter 1, good luck with that. Daughter 2, yeah, you should start walking. Adam Featherston, I was eating an apple and my daughter said to me, God, you're eating that loud. You sound like a horse. And your head kind of looks like one too. My son calls me an old man every day. I'm 30. He's a dick.
And walking past the graveyard once, my then 3-year-old daughter asked what it was. After explaining, she asked, Dad, when you die, will we get a new dad? Thanks, kid. I work with kids aged 0 to 5. They will humble you daily. I had purple streaks in my hair, and one asked me if it was supposed to look like that. I nodded and said yes. She just shook her head and said, silly lady. Friend had a 6-year-old son with him, and his son was staring at my recently purchased ute/pickup truck, and I asked the young man, do you like my new pickup truck? And with a serious and thoughtful expression, he says, no, I don't like it at all. And I asked why not, and with a straight face, the little piss cutter said, you're much too fat for it. I fell through my own ass laughing. Kids are dicks! This from Chaz. My son was 4 at the time. My wife was pregnant, and we were trying to explain to him why Mummy's belly was getting bigger and why he couldn't jump on her. Then he looked at me and said, Daddy must have a really big baby in his belly as well.
Last one from me. My friend's brother, when he was little, told his nan that her neck looks like his dad's balls when he gets out of the bath.
Oh, that would have cut deep. Real deep. Kids are dicks.
This one here is from Jess Kind. My son offered me a piece of his Oreo biscuit. It was part of the turd that he pulled out of his nappy. Stephen Gale Shoot. My buddy's neighbour had a kid and told us that the 1980s were, and I quote, millions and billions of years ago.
Kids are dicks.
My youngest kid, Kyle, had watched the original Deadpool movie. A couple of days later, he walked up to me and in true Deadpool fashion, dropped one knee and proudly yelled, cockshot, and proceeded to smash me right on my dick. He's lucky I couldn't move, or he may have not made it to 17.
Okay, buckle up. Story time. Here we go. This is from Carissa. About 8 years ago, I worked at a hospital as a nursing assistant in a very small town in Montana. One very early part of the morning, about 2 a.m., a mother and son walked in while the mother was frantically asking for help. Her son, who was in a severe amount of pain in his stomach. Her 8-year-old son, however, was screaming and crying and screaming for help. It was just quite intense. So we took him into the emergency room to start trying to figure out what was going on with her son and what was wrong. While the mum was waiting in the waiting room, her son then started to scream, "My wiener! My wiener!" So me and the nurse had a look to see what was wrong with his wiener. Come to find out that his older brother had dared him to shove an entire toothpick up the end of his wiener as far as he could.
Oh, Jesus.
Got him. His wiener was so swollen to the point where it was very difficult to pull out. We managed to pull it out safely without any splinters staying behind inside of the guy.
How do you know, though?
Then we put the toothpick in a cup to show the mother and tell her what was wrong with her son. She went from being a very worried mother to a very pissed off mother that her son was stupid enough to play such a stupid game. So needless to say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
So here from Tony. Many years ago, we were at some very old family friends. The dad of the house was bald on the top but had hair around the sides. My niece, who was in about 4 years old, said, "Hey, why is your hair sliding off the back of your head?" Mark Fitzpatrick in Ireland.
Yes.
As a rather rotund gentleman in my mid-30s, I decided to hit the gym and shed about 40 kilos. I was admiring my newly acquired 4-pack. Alas, the 6-pack evaded me. My then 8-year-old pipes up, "Wow, Daddy, your belly's got so small. But your face is still fat." Another one here from Susie here. My then 3-year-old son commented very loudly at the customs officer that inspected my passport, "Mum, you're a man, aren't you?" The poor customs man was trying very hard to keep a straight face. And finally, from Jeremy Lawrence, a couple of years back, was getting ready for work and the wife was getting the kids ready anyways. The youngest, who is at kindy, turns to the wife, whips out his pecker and goes, "I've got a Hulk dick." The young fella had been colouring his pecker in green all morning instead of eating his breakfast.
Because it's from Danny Carroll, who's one of the great rock listeners and not for radio listeners. It's a Saturday morning. I've just finished a night shift, but the weekly shop needs to be done. And my 17-month-old son, still in a baby buggy, and the supermarket was packed. Halfway around, my son's upset. I'm yawning, and my son's mum says, "Take him and go and sit by the tills." A few minutes later, after sitting there, 2 children that I assume were brother and sister, possibly twins, around 5-ish, sit next to me on the bench. After a few little minutes, the little boy goes, "I spy with my little eyes something beginning with O." The girl starts to guess orange, olive, onion, and the boy's like, no. And by now, my exhausted self is invested in their game, and I'm looking around for stuff that starts with O. Their mum walks up and says, "Come on then." And as if on cue, the little girl gives up. And with that, the little bastard locks his eyes with me straight down the barrel of the gun, points at me, and gives me the answer. "Old man." I broke my silence. I said, "Oi, I'm only 32. And the mum hurried her young children away. Kids are dicks.
Kids are dicks. This is from Paul Young. Moved to a small town in the Northern Territory of Australia and took my daughter to her first day of grade 1 school. When asked what her daddy does, she told everyone, "My dad goes to the pub. He's there all day. And then he goes back again at the night time. I'm often in bed asleep when he comes home. And he sits down and then he has a beer." All of the teachers and the mums are just glaring at me like I'm the worst father in the world. I quietly mumbled, "I'm the new chef at the pub and I work split shifts."
Oh, that's good.
Linda Mallard. In the days when I used to go to the gym, I was in a shower cubicle when I heard a mum and a toddler enter the cubicle next door. Mum turned the water on, and when I looked down, there was a massive turd floating towards my feet from under the partition. Suddenly, an adult hand reached through, snatched it, and I could only imagine how embarrassed she was, so I pretended not to notice and said nothing. We ended up in the changing room at the same time, and I've never seen a kid dried, dressed, and out the door so fast. I'm talking sub 10 seconds. Kids are dicks when they take a shit.
Well, that's good. We float in Moro Bar, eh?
Final one from me, from Dave. Fellas, I got a couple for you. About a year ago, I was helping a neighbour clear block drains in the very heavy freezing rain. I was soaking wet head to toe, so I went straight inside to the shower. My son, 3 years old at the time, busted in and goes, "Daddy, geez, it must be cold because your penis fell off outside." Another time was at a mate's. He had a very recently taught his boy how to pants somebody. Was standing chatting when he comes up behind me and goes, he comes up behind me and down goes my shorts and undies. He then shouts, "Everyone look!" So everyone sees what he did. Yes, that's right, kids are dicks.
Kids are dicks.